Good morning, sweet friend. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Maylene Call from Mrs. Call's Campers. If you're new here, this year I am teaching kindergarten and first grade together in the same class. I'm doing a split class or a combo class. Last year I taught kindergarten, and the year before that I taught first grade. So we are very primary over here. I don't know how I get here at 6:44 every day. It's 6:44, August 30th. August truly did slip away. Taylor Swift was right. It slipped away. It's almost gone. I have a lot to do this morning. I was actually here all weekend, which I wouldn't encourage it unless it's something that will make you feel better going into your week. I was hired very late into the year, so I really don't feel like I am prepared and have everything fully together. So me coming in this past weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and spending hours here really helped me feel more prepared. But I still have a couple of things to do. So I'll give you an overview of what my planner looks like right now. Honestly, it's not super filled in. Typically I do plan with you guys in my vlog, usually on like Thursday or Friday, but I just am not that together right now. So here's a look at my planner. Also, I have officially deemed Mondays cookie butter lattes. Mondays are my favorite day anyway, but getting a cookie butter latte makes it extra exciting. So I've been making all my coffee at home, and today I just put cookie butter in with the espresso, and I'm a very happy girl. I put some water beads in a bag. I think I underestimated how much water they absorb. I also worked on some fine motor bins. I haven't labeled them, but I did use the like Target strips, you know, those little sticky strips. So right now I have some pop beads. I need some pipe cleaners for this one. And then this is like lacing practice, some brain flakes, some hole punchers, and then I have some decorative scissors coming on the way. I was gonna do something with water beads in one of them, but they're not ready to go quite yet. I also realized I forgot to show you the poetry schedule and all of that. So this weekend I made a little poetry binder for my AIDE because she does the poetry with them. So the first graders have a folder, just your normal 3-prong folder, and then they'll have their poems in here. So last week they did first grade rocks. Again, I shared the resource I'm using in my last vlog. And then on the inside I have the schedule for kindergarten, and then a schedule for first grade for our poetry. So the kindergarten poetry schedule, I based this off of a couple different poetry schedules that I found online. I'll go ahead and add this to my shared drive with you guys. So if you check the description box, I'll put it in there in case you want it. The kinder poetry schedule is a 5-day schedule, and then the poetry schedule for my first graders is a 10-day schedule from Anne Marie, and I'll link her resource below too. I'm gonna make copies of the first grade poems for today or this week. So first grade is doing 5 Little Apples and kinder is doing Apple Core. It's after school. Mondays normally are my favorite day of the week because it's a fresh start. You have all your kids. That was not the case today. I had like 50% of my class. I only had 3 kindergartners today, and I had a majority of my first graders, and I scheduled counseling Monday morning for our specials, so it'll be every week Monday morning. And I really like that I did that because for one, you never know what might happen over the weekend. I was like, okay, Monday will give us a really good fresh start. And then for 2, it was really nice because then I could kind of wrap my brain around the week and I wouldn't have to be like ready to go first thing Monday morning, which I was, but I didn't have to be. It's just, it was very quiet today. My kids were very quiet because there weren't a lot of us. A lot of them were a little bit timid, a little bit reserved, and I think some of them were a little bit worried about everything that's happening. We also have a board meeting tonight, so we'll see what happens then. But yeah, it was just kind of an odd Monday. I also tried to start centers, which it wasn't really centers because our kids weren't here, so nothing worked out the way I planned, of course. So the first graders today, I pretty much just introduced them to writing. There's nothing in our writing center right now. Writing center is right over here. There's literally nothing in it because I didn't want them like messing with it, and I kind of want to introduce it. I want to introduce it as I go. But I did this with them. It is just a primary girls story writing, so this is the same sheet, but this one has some differentiation on it. And I think, like I said in the last vlog, I'm just really gonna have to take it a couple steps back. And then kindergartners, literally we just worked on name writing, name recognition. I introduced them to our magnetic letters, let them build their name, mix it and fix it, taught them some basic like small group procedures. And then with my kinders, I did work on shapes a little bit, but again, I only had 3 of them. My AIDE did it too. I was watching Shelly, Early Adventures. I love her so much. I was watching her video where she was talking about her math groups and her ELA groups, and we actually do ELA really similar. But for math, she took their math workbook pages, and I think she got this idea from her team teacher, but she calls it their math adventure. And I was like, yep, that's what it's going to be called. And so I had my kinders while I was working with my first graders today, working on their math adventure, and I think they were excited. I think they just were still unsure about what it was, but they did the math adventure with my AIDE, who actually kind of introduced the concept, so really thankful for her. I did math centers sort of kind of with my first graders. Really, I was just kind of introducing some of the things we might do, and I kind of wanted to see how they handled it. And then since we talked about colors last week in kindergarten, and I only had a couple of them here today, I had rent off this color by code sheet, and I literally just made the color by code the word. So for the purple crayon, they were literally looking for the word purple. And then the other thing my first graders really loved today is we did knockout. So we just did basic addition knockout, and if you've never heard about that before, it's by Erin Waters. She sells them for kindergarten and first grade, and I think second grade too, but she has them for pretty much every big chunk of standards that you have. Hello, good morning. It is Tuesday. I almost said Thursday. I don't think I'm ever gonna get it straight what day it is in the morning. I have 4 shots in here today because I am very tired. And yeah, I think I did a little bit of reconsidering last night about how I want to, I don't know, I guess I just approach this year, because usually for me, I've noticed with myself in the past that I've kind of rushed into things sometimes content-wise and like presenting it to my kids, and then I've had to back up a little bit. So for example, last week with the mix it fix it sentences for my first graders, my very first year of teaching, they could do that. But this year, that's not the case. And could I have anticipated that? Yeah, I could have just a little bit, but I was still kind of hoping. And then I remember yesterday mentioning Alphabet Boot Camp and being a little bit unsure about how I wanted to proceed and how I wanted to, you know, teach, because I have kids who are coming in and out and in and out. So I think I am still going to do Alphabet Boot Camp, but I'm going to modify it just a little bit, and I'm only going to teach 2 letters a week. Initially, I was planning on introducing letters Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then not on Friday. But I think now I'm going to introduce letters on Monday and Wednesday and give each letter 2 days and probably assess every like 2 weeks or so and kind of see how we're doing, engage it from there. And I think that's the best option, because I don't really want to rush through ABC Boot Camp just to say I did it. And maybe if this was a normal year, like, it would be okay to totally just do ABC Boot Camp and do a letter a day. But this year, I think I just want to take it a little bit slower. I still want to fast track learning, but I don't want to speed past every kid. It's 7 this morning, so I did sleep in a little bit more. I am going to go ahead and get ready for my day. I'm going to make a little anchor chart for the book that we're reading today, Do Unto Otters. I actually have this book, but I'm going to play the little YouTube video of it because it's very, I don't know what the word is. It's dynamic, like the characters like move on the page. It's one of those from YouTube. So I'm going to do that and drink my coffee and just relax and just have a peaceful morning before kids get here today. Actually, really quickly, I got these 2 books yesterday from Christine, and I already thanked you on Instagram, but I just wanted to say thank you again for sending me these books. This one I am really excited for in particular. It's called Ralph Tells a Story, and he just has a really hard time getting started. Here's like a little sample of the book. My teacher always said stories are everywhere, and I think this is just another really great book for when we do writing, so I really appreciate this one. This one is also a super cute book too. I'm going to write in my book that it was donated by you. I'm also going to stamp this one from Madison and write donated to Miss Call's class from Madison Campbell, because I really like to remember every single time I open a book who a book is from. So thank you guys again for donating to our classroom. You guys, today was a really good day. I think one of our best days. And it's so funny because I got here this morning and I was like, I need to take time to myself. I need to relax because today might be a little bit crazy, just because of things that are going on in the district. But today was actually one of the best days we've had. It felt like the most normal out of all the days we've had, and I feel really good. So, by the way, I still love teaching with my little Britney Spears microphone, and it really helps with the masks. It helps when we're outside. My room, also, I would like to say, is a mess. My back area is a mess. Everything is a mess, but it was a good day. I'm still not in the place where I feel totally organized as far as like my own space goes and like what I'm pulling. But we had a good day. Did I say we had a good day? We had a good day. One thing that I'm really liking, just off the top of my list, we were doing our alphabet song in the morning. We do the Secret Stories Better Alphabet Song morning and afternoon at the end of the day before we go home, but I haven't been remembering to do it because the end of the day has been so crazy. But as we were doing it this morning, one of my friends was standing up and we sit down for it. So he was standing up and I just looked at him and I gave him the sit sign and he sat down and it was working so well and I was just really excited about that. And I've also been transitioning myself out of the alphabet song because it has Katie Gardner and Jack Hartman up on the screen and I don't really want my kids to be looking at me. I want them to be looking at the screen so they can look at the letters with their eye glue. So I've been sitting behind them and I've just been giving dojo points to students so I can see their mouths moving. I can hear them. I really can't see because of the mask. And if they're doing like the motions that go with it, I'm giving points and I'm to the point where I can sit behind them and they will totally do it on their own. Today was wonderful. And then today we read the book Do Unto Otters and I actually didn't read it. I played the YouTube video like I said this morning. That went super well. They listened to the whole thing. We talked about what being a good classmate is. We made a cute little anchor chart together. I drew this morning and we talked about all of these things and these are how their cute little otters came out. So the kindergartners just drew a picture. You really can't see. And the first graders were writing. I don't want to show you too close anyway. And the discussion was great. The work part was not so great. And here's the thing. When I taught first grade 2 years ago, that same otter activity is something my first graders did mostly by themselves on like the second or third day. It was very, very early in the school year. We made the anchor chart together and they could just copy what they wanted to say. They would write it. My first graders this year, like I mentioned, I think in my last vlog, most of them are more mid-year kindergarten and not like end of the year kindergarten, beginning of first grade. A lot of them put just like a single word. Again, I have to take a couple steps back. And the other thing I was really proud of them for, and this is going to sound crazy if you're not a teacher, but if you are a teacher, you get it. They turned all the otters into my basket all facing the right way. They didn't just scatter them. They put them all facing the right way. And I had a moment where I was like, this is great. I really appreciate this. And I made sure to tell them. So that was a big chunk of our day. And then we had a little bus safety adventure. Bus safety, how they would evacuate if they needed to, because if we go on field trips in the future, that's all things that they will need to know. Threw our schedule off just a little bit. So we didn't get to our morning literacy. And I decided instead of doing literacy during our math time, I was just going to stick with our normal afternoon routine. So first graders did some math centers. I gave them something new today, just stuff that I've had in the past that's worked really well. They did much better today. They were much more independent and they worked really well with their partners. So super proud of them for that. And then with my kindergartners, we did shapes again and we did their math adventure, which as I mentioned yesterday is literally just their workbook pages, but it is a math adventure. So on every page, I actually gave them a little smelly star, which they love. So if you're new to my channel, a smelly star is just one of these little smelly markers, Mr. Sketch scented markers, and I just go like this. A little like rounded star and a smiley face, and then they smell it and it smells good. They love our little smelly stars. I gave them one on every page for doing such a great job, and they really did. So the math block was a huge chunk of our time, and then I wanted to go ahead and pull some first graders just for running records. And I'm really excited because I asked my aide today if she was interested in learning how to do a running record, and she said yes. And I love that about my aide. She's willing to learn new things and do things with me and try things and just to help in any way possible. So I had done a couple of running records, and then I had her come sit next to me and just watch me as I did them. I kind of explained what I'm doing. So hopefully in the future she can maybe do some of them. And yeah, I think that's a super big help. And also the little system that I made for my aide is working out really well. So I just have this sheet of paper. I might have already talked about this, but I have at the top basically what I want her to do when she pulls students, and then a please do, and then if you have time, do this, except she is literally going above and beyond, 10 steps ahead of me at all times, and she's like trying to complete the whole thing in a couple of days because she's that amazing. So I like need a couple more things to think about. That's working well, and today was a great day and I had a good time with my kids, and there were a couple of situations where I had to have 2 kids come talk to me about something that was happening between them and solve those problems. So we're working on how to talk to the students and not come and tell me every single time, which is a really, again, a big thing for kindergarten, a big thing for first grade, but we're working through those things and I just feel really excited about the rest of the week. So yeah. Hello, good morning, happy Wednesday. Today It is 7:05 a.m. and I don't really have anything to do for my day, I don't think. I think I left my iPad at home. Oh, nope, it's right here. Today we're doing All Are Welcome, and I think I have everything ready for that. We're doing a little craft, and we're gonna be making banners. That's gonna take up most of our day, honestly, kind of like yesterday with Do Unto Otters. You're a little cricket. The All Are Welcome banners and craft that we're doing are honestly gonna take up a majority of our day today, and I think this week I am totally okay with that. I'm totally okay with kind of going slow, making sure they understand how to do these things, how to do the crafts, how to do the writing when I tell them to do the writing. And even I was thinking about it last night after I talked to you about delaying alphabet boot camp and delaying how many letters I teach per week. I think I'm not even going to worry about alphabet boot camp this week. I'm just going to focus more on routines and more just the basic math concepts for my kindergartners. And then when we hop into next week, hopefully things look a little better attendance wise. I'm just going to start it then. And that way it'll be starting fresh on a Monday and things will be, never mind, we don't have school Monday. Starting fresh on a Tuesday. Yeah, so we'll be starting fresh on a Tuesday. I'm just gonna keep taking it really slow. And like I said, yesterday was one of the best days we've had. It just felt like everything was kind of flowing. I didn't feel as disoriented or as scattered as I have been feeling. And I feel like they kind of just knew a little bit more what to do. So I felt more comfortable even in the classroom myself. So that is making me feel better. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna get organized before the day begins. Make sure I have everything ready to go for our All Are Welcome craft. This is what I look like at the end of the day. I am gonna take down my hair so I don't look crazy on the vlog this whole time. Today was a good day too. I'm exhausted just because it's the end of the day, and then I had like some end of the day things that I'm just kind of like, whoa. But today was a really good day too. I feel like we're settling into our routine. Here's the problem. I still only have about 50% of my class, so things are good with half of my class, and I'm just worried about when everybody starts trickling in. I'm hoping that because we are doing such a good job right now that the kids that trickle in will just kind of fall into place. Like it won't be a free-for-all again, because that's kind of how it felt the first few days of school, so I'm hoping that is what's going to happen with that. But yeah, I'm tired. I feel like we did a lot. I'm not doing everything perfectly according to my schedule. I am just taking it really slow, and I'm trying to make sure that we really get what we're doing. So today we read All Are Welcome Here, and we said I can sit on my leaf, I can listen to the story, I can tell how to make friends feel welcome. This, I wasn't necessarily planning on making an anchor chart with it. We didn't. I just really wanted it to be a conversation, because especially at this point, it's just sat on my bell. Especially at this point, like the value they would get from an anchor chart on ways that we can make our friends feel welcome, I didn't feel like it was going to be super valuable. We already have an anchor chart, Be a Leader, Not a Boss. We already have the anchor chart. This is what a good classmate does, so I really wanted this to be more of a guided discussion. Every single time we read a book, I always go over book features and things that good readers do, and a lot of it is because it's kindergarten, but more so how we read a book and things that good readers do is more for first grade. So we talk about the front cover, the title, the jacket. I always have them guess, do you think it's going to be the same or different? And I love when it's different because a lot of times it's the same. And we talk about what do good readers do before they read a book. They look at the title, they look at the pictures, think about what the story is going to be about. And I did like a little picture walk with them and just showed them some of the illustrations and had them make like a prediction. So just little things that you can do every day that just help them. So we talk about front cover, back cover, title. And then when we were reading this book, in case you haven't read it before, it does have a line that repeats. So for example, pencils are sharpened in their case, bells are ringing, let's make haste, school's beginning, dreams to chase, all are welcome here. So there's a couple things you could pull out. You can pull out the rhyme, you could pull out the vocabulary. I pulled out the repetitive words. So on the next page it was, no matter how you start your day, what you wear, when you play, or if you come from far away, all are welcome here. And I was like, do you notice anything that the author is doing? Do you notice anything about the words? And they got that they are repeating all are welcome here. And then some more towards the end of the book when they could predict when it was going to come up, I was like, can you read this next line with me? All are welcome here. And I basically discussed that when an author repeats something, that means it's important. So I like to pull, even if it's not something that I'm teaching to a specific standard, I always like to pull things like that, especially when it comes to book, because those things are important and they're going to encounter them pretty much every single day. So we read this book, and then later I pulled my first graders and we did this resource, and I put it in my PowerPoint just so they would have a big visual, and Normally with these kind of things, I'll sit there and do it with them, but I really just was guiding them. And I only have 9 first graders in person in class right now. So I just called them to my table. Here's an example of one that they made. I'm covering their birthday and their name. But what I had them do was I had them color a picture of themselves, draw their favorite food, what they like to play, their family, and their favorite holiday. So I don't know if you can see this one. Her favorite food was noodles. She loves Poppets. Her favorite holiday was Valentine's Day. So she made like a little card. There's her family. And I basically guided them through how to do this. It's helpful to kind of go through the steps, and you color first. You glue the paper and you stick the paper on the page. You don't glue the page and then stick the paper on the page. Like all these things you have to go over with kindergartners and first graders. So they made these cute little houses. My kindergartners did this activity. It's from the same pack from Primary Scouts. And what I had them do was had them look at each individual picture. And basically what you're supposed to do are color the pictures that make you feel welcome at school. So we talked to this boy, he's waving, he's saying hi, does that make us feel welcome? Yes, and then we colored the picture together. And something I did that was helping them was I had little blue sticky notes, and we went through and we were like, okay, kicking or trying to trip someone, does that make us feel welcome? No, I had them take it and I had them cover it up with a sticky note, and so by the end we only colored the ones that made us feel welcome. So it was kind of easy for them to see, and so they didn't color this one. And on that note, something else that I'm doing, if you teach kindergarten, I just kind of figure this out on the spot. If you teach kindergarten and you have someone who cannot really comprehend where you're asking them to color, this is what I did today, and I don't know, it might help you if you have one of these tricky cases. But okay, let's say this is their paper that you are working on and you only want them to focus on like the top part of the paper. What I did today was I put another piece of paper on top of it, but this student in particular, like, he'll move it out of the way. So I literally took this piece of paper and taped it to the table so they could not move it, and then they could just focus on the top part of the page. So this is what my kindergartners did. I only had 3 kindergartners in class today. So basically while we were coloring, we were just talking about some of these choices. I was saying things like, oh, what would you do if this happened to you? Or what could we say? Or how can you make someone feel welcome? So I was really just kind of talking to them while they were coloring. And then since we're already talking about the book, another little thing that we did today was they colored these banners that are in the same kit. So there's a couple of different designs, and I'll just flip through and show you. So like this is one of my children who can't color and just focus on anything. So I put a white piece of paper around the smiley face. Like I literally cut a hole in a piece of paper and I said, color the smiley face. So that's what it ended up looking like. There's another one, Better Together. This one is super cute. Discussion about skin tone and skin colors. And I introduced our Colors of the World crayons, which I have a separate little bin of them back there. And I kind of showed them how to match their skin color and skin tone. And a bunch of them used just different skin tones. I was like, this banner is going to represent our community. Here's another cute one. I'm actually going to put these on a piece of paper, laminate them, and kind of put them outside our door as like a decoration. And this is my example that I did for them. Also, I would say this book, All Are Welcome Here, it is more of like a first grade book, but I could have pulled out so much vocabulary, but I just wanted to keep it simple. I just pulled out the word community, and they weren't fully understanding of what the concept was, but I think towards the end they were. So we talked about how we have different communities at our classroom, communities at school, communities in our neighborhood, and that was the word that I really wanted to kind of focus on. I think they did a good job, but in the beginning it was really tricky for them to understand just what the concept of a community was. Let's talk about what I did for small groups today. So we're not doing full on centers. I'm still introducing everything. For my kindergartners, I literally just practice matching letters, being able to discriminate between letters. And some of them know most of their letters, some of them don't really know as much, but I was trying to see if they could discriminate between them. So I said it was a game. I pulled down the first row of letters and I kind of just mixed them up, and I said, can you match the letter back to where it belongs? And this is also kind of priming them for whenever we use the alphabet letters, and a lot of them were really good at discriminating, so they matched this one up here. Usually B and D are really tricky, but they did a good job matching it, so that was really good. And I basically went through and they thought it was so fun. They loved it. They loved the magnetic letters. After they did the first row, I brought the first row and the second row down, and then I did the first, second, and third row down, and then we did a clean sweep, and they loved this. It was great. I'm really excited because normally whenever you start pulling kids to your back table and then you're like, okay, we're gonna use these letters, sometimes they throw them back and they're like all sorts of ways, but we practiced. So now they know. And then with kindergartners, of course, we're always working on name writing, recognizing your name, being able to put your name together. So what I did today, I'm going to use my name as an example. I give them just a little sentence strip with their name. We go through with the letters. We talk about the first letter, the last letter. We say all the letters. I have them spelled if they can. And then once they get to the point where they know all the letters in their name, you can chop it. So the first thing I usually do is chop in half, and I have them put it back together. This is a very common thing to do if you're in kindergarten. I don't want you guys to think that I came up with it. A lot of people do it. Put it back together, and if they get that, sometimes I like to go in and I will chop off the first letter of their name, and that makes it even harder. And sometimes you'll have them put it back together and it might be like this, and you'll have to have them check their name or check the letter to see which way it goes, and you can make it harder and harder until eventually you get to every single letter in their name. With a different little kinder, I slid a sentence strip into this, not a sheet protector. Oh, do you hear that beeping? My timer is about to go off. I was like, what is beeping in here? Okay, the PowerPoint is going. In this page protector, no, I don't know. Dry erase sleeve, that's what it is. In my dry erase sleeve, I just slid a sentence strip in, and we talked about writing her name, and I'm using the Peterson handwriting. I think I mentioned that. And I've taught letters before. I taught kindergarten, but I did not use the Peterson handwriting sequence. And I know a lot of you guys are are fans of Handwriting Without Tears. I don't have that, and I know a lot of you really like that. I have had success so far with this. L would be tall down, and just that verbiage, tall down, they have to go down when they write it, so they're not going up, tall down, and that has helped my kids. They're starting at the top when they're writing their name. Peterson print rhythm. So that was kinder. And then for first grade, I have these decodable readers from Tara West, and I used these last year. So out of the first graders that I had today, 2 of them are higher readers. They can read CBC words and they can read sight words, and so I gave them this little decodable. It's kind of focusing on short I, but there's other vowels in there too. And I set them to the carpet with a whiteboard, and I should have done this on a piece of paper, but this is just something that I did kind of in the moment, and I feel like I come up with some of my best things in the moment. Like today, after we read All Are Welcome, I was like, you know what, I want to give them a little something fun to kind of nail it home. So before we went out to snack, I played a kid president video, 20 things we should say more often, and then before they could go get their snack, I said, what is something that we should say more often? What's something nice that we could say? And had them all say something nice. And I don't know, those are things that I don't plan, and I just do, and I just think are fun. Okay, so I wrote short I words, and I said, go through the book, read it one time by yourself. Then I want you to partner read it with each other. Then I want you to find as many short I words as you can. And they were like, okay, like they were really excited to do it. This is the first real, I feel like, first grade task they've had, and they did a really, really good job with it. So while they were doing that, that kept them busy for just enough time for me to go through with my other first graders who can still read CBC words, but they need a lot of assistance. So our big focus for the week is beginning and ending sounds, and then short I. So I took the word bin, for example. Before we even started, I wrote the word bin, and I taught them how to blend it. So b, bin, and adding that N to it. So I also did b, bin. And so if they would get stuck, I would drag the sound for them, bin, and have them finish that last sound, n. So I would say bi, they would say bin, bin. And we practiced blending a few words, and I basically just changed the ending sound, because I think a lot of mine right now, that's where they get caught up, is the ending sound. So then I changed it to a G. We blended it. Big, and getting that ending sound. So then in our decodable, just for the first page, I had them find some sight words. So the, is, the, just so they would recognize those. And then we started reading. The, get your mouth ready, mug. The mug is in the, and they knew this was bin. So after my students at the table read the book on their own, we talked about blending, I sent them off to color it, and I brought my 2 students who were working on the carpet back to my table. I looked at their short I words. They were all correct. And then I had them read the book, or the decodable. I had them whisper read it to me, and there were a couple of errors that I caught and helped them correct, but they did a really good job. So what I did for them was some sentence writing. So I had them pick from the back 1 or 2 words if they wanted. So one of them picked jug, and one of them picked pen and jet. And I said, okay, let's write a sentence together. So I just grabbed this paper and I said, okay, let's think of a simple sentence together. And I did it with each of them. And this student chose, he has the jug. So sight words, things that she can sound out. She picked that sentence all on her own. He has the jug. We also, this is a lot of information, but we also talked about hugging our mistakes. So if you make a mistake, and I have my students use pen because for one, I hate erasers, and for two, I like to see their thought process. I don't like to just see, oh, this is where we got to in the end. I like to see, what did they think it was? What are we still working on? So she wrote HS for has. And when she went back and read it to me, I was like, oh, it sounds like there's a sound missing. Let's stretch this word. And she was like, hey, and I was like, okay, we're gonna hug our mistakes. We love our mistakes because they help us grow, so let me show you how to hug it. We're gonna put 2 little hugs just like this, and then I had her write the correct word, has, above. So things like that I really like to introduce naturally, kind of as we need them. Sometimes I'll introduce them as a class, but in this case it just kind of happened naturally. He has the jug. We went back and fixed this one. She drew a little picture to illustrate it. That was our small group reading time. My first graders also played Knockout again today with my AIDE, and they're also learning that it is okay to not win all of the time. They're learning that. I'm going to clean up my mess that I was hiding from you and go home. I hung up command hooks. My husband bought a ton of command hooks so that I can hopefully hang up their backpacks outside because they're just kind of throwing them on the ground right now. So we'll see how that goes. But I'll check in with you guys tomorrow on Thursday. Hello, good morning. It's Thursday morning. I got here later than I've ever gotten here today, and I'm honestly kind of proud. And I went to bed so early last night. I think I went to bed like 8 o'clock, and it's 7:12 in the morning this morning. Really, I'm just gonna make sure I'm ready for today. And that's it. I'm not gonna do any extra stuff. Ooh, we're reading Giraffes Can't Dance today, and I did not print off anything for that. So yeah, I definitely need to get ready for today. All our welcome went really well yesterday, so I'm thinking the one for today will be good too, except I literally have to print it and get ready for it. That's something we do in the morning. Oh, we also have computer lab today. That's exciting. It's after school on Thursday. In case you were wondering, I did get everything done and prepped for today. In fact, you can actually see our little giraffes hanging up. I told some of my first grade teammates today at lunch that we had to be friends on Apple Fitness, so now I'm gonna start sending the most sarcastic messages when they finish workouts. I love Apple Fitness. Okay, so we did our read aloud today. Let me show you our anchor chart. If you've watched my vlogs at all, fell in love with my friend Primary Scouts. She works so hard to make these resources, and what you see here is literally just a fraction of what comes with it. So we read Giraffes Can't Dance today, which is a classic beginning of the year book. Talked about what we can't do yet. We talked about his feelings. We talk about how characters change, and then we retell the story. And I was not sure if I was gonna have any kids brave enough to come up to the front, because what I like to do is retell the book. So I'll say in the beginning, and then I go through the pictures. In the middle, I go through each picture. In the end, I go through the picture and I retell the story. And then I like to have a student come up and retell it. And one of my kindergartners was the first student who volunteered, and she's not like a super let me be in the front of the classroom kind of kindergartner, but she did it, and I said, okay, repeat after me, in the beginning, and she said in the beginning, and then she retold each picture. And then I said in the middle, she said in the middle, and she retold the whole story. I was so stinking proud of her. And then I had a first grader come up and retell it, and then we did this very, very slow today because I wanted to make sure I taught them the expectations, because this is something we're going to be doing all year long. So I gave them their little retelling pieces, these little orange squares here. I didn't have them color it because I knew that was going to take even more time, so I just printed it on colored paper. And then we talked about number 1, this is what happened first. Number 2, this is what happened next, and I had them place them all down there. The first graders I kind of gave a little bit more independence because they had the chart back here to kind of check their work. But with the kindergartners, I went super slow. They glued them, and that took a really good chunk of our time, so we had to finish after recess. So we did our morning recess, we came back, and then I had them color, I had them cut. They did a really good job, and then I pulled them all separately. See if I can show you. And we did 2 different activities. So with the kindergartners, I did this, and it was literally just a very, very basic flip up, and it's included in her pack. So we talked about Gerald at the start, and then we actually spelled this together, went over handwriting. So this little girl actually wrote sad and drew a sad Gerald, and then at the end I wrote appy and had them get the first sound. So, and then my first graders wrote just a short sentence about what they can't do yet. This student forgot yet, but that is okay because she sounded all of this out by herself. So very proud, and look how stinking cute those giraffes are. They're adorable. I've also just been sitting here eating goldfish. So love that for me. That was the main thing we did today, and I'm totally okay with it because they did a really good job and they also loved it. They really, really did. So that's gonna pretty much be our structure throughout the year. I like to do one main read aloud a week. So every morning, that'll be basically the first thing we do after morning meeting is do a group read aloud, and then they'll have that activity. I might end up turning some of these activities, because they are pretty repetitive, into like must do center work, and then we can put it together later. We're still doing our alphabet song every day, twice a day. Secret Stories, that's why it's still up, and they're getting really, really good at it. Normal day though. Oh, I also introduced smart cookies, and I kind of didn't want to start this yet because I have something that I ordered that should be coming in eventually, but I'm not sure when. On Instagram, you saw this in the background, but I drew this little jar right here, and then I'm going to fill the jar with cookies, and when it gets to the top, they'll actually get their reward. In the past, if you guys, again, have seen my Instagram, have seen my vlogs, I would track it throughout the week, and I would say, okay, we did good during reading centers on Monday. We did good during math centers on Monday, and if they got like a certain amount by the end of the week, they would get like cookies or something at the end of the week. And this time I was like, what if I just had them fill a jar, and then I wouldn't have to bring something every single week? So that's what we're doing. But I actually am working with an Etsy seller because she makes these little reward jars. I'll put a picture up here for you, and she is actually gonna make little cookies for me to put inside instead of the stars. So I'm excited for that, but they have already, actually I need to put another one up. I'll do that with them tomorrow because I earned another one today. And I was just like, filling the jar is probably gonna be better for me than bringing them something every single week. So that's what we're doing. I'm still loving this. I'm staying super hydrated throughout the day. And yeah, I think that's it. Tomorrow we are going to be doing chrysanthemum. And I don't have any of that prepped, but I'm just gonna get here early tomorrow and do that because I kind of want to go home. I'm kind of tired. Really tired at the end of each day, even though we're having really good days. I also wanted to share with you guys again just how amazing my AIDE is, because I made these poetry folders, and if you've seen my center folders before, it looks very similar. I can't sell this. I can put it in my link in the description box for free. If you click on the link that says all of my links, I can put it there for free, but this clip art is not mine. I don't own it, so I can't sell it. And since we're doing poetry folders this year for kindergarten and first grade, I wanted a little poetry folder cover. This one actually does not have the name on it because I had a student who was at the top of my roster who is no longer with us, and so what I always do is I always make extras. So I just left this blank so that if I get a new student, I can pop them in right here. But I always make extras when I make things like this. And now that I'm holding a poetry folder, I've got to show you something that's super cute. Hold on. This is one of my first graders poetry folders. And again, if you didn't see the last couple of vlogs, this resource is by the Chi-Town teacher, Emery. She's amazing. This is the first poem they did, First Grade Rocks. And they're highlighting different things as they go through, and my AIDE is doing this with them. This student was drawing a picture of our classroom, and she came up to me and told me that she drew Starbucks right here, because I always have Starbucks, and I thought that was the cutest thing ever. And if you're curious, this is the poem they're working on this week, 5 Little Apples. I actually want to show you one more thing that I did. I think I talked about this when I taught kindergarten last year, but I can't remember, so I'll tell you again. I noticed today at the end of the day, just because today was our first day doing like a lot of cutting, there were lots of little pieces of trash all over the floor, and I was like, okay, let's bring out this game that I love to play. And if you've played mystery trash or secret trash before, it's basically this, except you pull up, or at least I do, you pull up an emergency meeting, and then you just put on an Among Us timer, and usually I'll just pick one and then I'll slide it to where it's like 2 minutes. You basically tell them that there is an imposter among them, and either something is out of place or something needs to be picked up, and they have to try to find what it is, and that person gets like a Skittle or a prize or something. So you have a very specific thing in mind that you're looking for a specific student, hopefully, to pick it up or put it back where it goes, and that went really well too. And that being said, I will see you in the morning. Hello, good morning. Today is Friday. I feel like I'm in the best mood that I've been in all week, and not because it's Friday. That's not why. I'm just in a good mood, and I feel like we've had a really good week so far, and I'm ready to wrap it up. And today's Fun Friday, so yeah, actually I don't even know what we're doing for Fun Friday, but it'll be something fun. This morning I made a toffee nut white mocha and that might also be why. I'm very happy. I have been loving our espresso machine at home, and toffee nut white mocha is like one of the best flavor combinations. Also toffee nut cinnamon dolce, but I can't buy cinnamon dolce syrup right now, so toffee nut white mocha. So today's gonna be a pretty laid back day. We are gonna be reading Chrysanthemum today. I do have the retelling kits from Primary Scouts. However, I'm not gonna be doing the craft that goes with it because we did one yesterday, and I kind of want to like get them into the habit of knowing like, oh, it's only gonna be one craft a week, but we are gonna do a retelling. We're gonna practice that routine, and we're gonna do some like name activities. You'll see. I just wanted to hop on this morning and say that I was in a really good mood. I'm really excited for Friday. We've got our second week of school that we're wrapping up. I'm probably gonna stay after school today. It is like a half day. Basically we get out an hour early, but I am gonna stay after school today, make sure I'm fully prepped for next week so I can enjoy my weekend and enjoy my Monday off. But I am going to put on my Aloud perfume and have a good day. Morning! I know, I'm so excited! Okay, it's after school on Friday, and it's 1:45 right now because we got out early, but I still have been doing just a couple of little things, and then I remembered I did not recap my day with you guys. It was actually a really good day. It was a fun day. We did Chrysanthemum today, which I told you about, and I actually, after I turned the camera off, I decided to do a little spontaneous craft type thing. So let me show you what I did. So by the way, here's the room. I moved all the tables out of the way because it was Fun Friday and we played a game, and I'll tell you about that in just a sec. Okay, so we read Chrysanthemum today, which here was our little read aloud thing for the day that we always say. And oh look, somebody like organized all those little things for me. That's nice. Okay, so here was our anchor chart. This resource is from Primary Scouts, who I love. We read Chrysanthemum, and I love Chrysanthemum so much. I did have to kind of like speed through the ending a little bit because it can be kind of long, especially for like kinder first grade, so I was kind of speeding through the end, but I love it because there's so many different things that you can pull from it. They love the vocabulary, the feelings, all of that was wonderful. Talked about the characters, talked about the setting, same thing as yesterday. We talked about the beginning, middle, and end. And then what they did today was just this page. They were like, Miss Call, do we get to make a mouse? And if I had done the full kit, yes, they would have, but only this today. This is what they did today. I just wanted them to practice the sequencing. So this is in like every activity that she gives you with these resources, and all the pictures are out of order. And so I literally wrote on the board, it's gone now, but I was like, okay, first you color, then you cut, then you glue, check it with the teacher. So they did this, and they actually did it completely independently, and they all did it, and I could not be more proud, honestly. Amazing. For our second day doing it, amazing. So while they're doing this independently, I always have the anchor chart pulled up close on the carpet, so they're working, well, all the tables are moved, but they're working over here and they can see the anchor chart, and this is kind of scaffolding for some of those friends who are like, oh, I'm not really sure, and they could look up there. They still have to put it in the correct order, and they did a great job. I'm so impressed. And then my aide, this was on colored paper, by the way. Nice pretty paper. My aide did pencil, crayon, and markers and had them write their names, and then I called them to my back table and we made like a little flower name craft, and there's a bunch of different kinds of flower name crafts for Chrysanthemum on Teachers Pay Teachers. I had like a specific vision in mind of something I wanted, so let me explain to you what I made. I made little circles. These are on not really cardstock, but thicker paper, and then I had them color their name. And then I gave them petals, and they put one letter of their name on each petal. I did Mrs. Call as like my little demo. Anyways, then they glued the petals all around, and then they made these little chains. So I just taped the first one to the back like this, and then they chained it all the way down for how many letters they had in their name. And some of them they wanted to do their first name and last name, and I said, okay, great. This was really just a fun thing for fine motor that I wanted to do. Plus I feel bad because they haven't got to take home any of like the cute stuff that they've done so far, and I was like, I want to give you guys something cute that you can take home that I'm not just immediately hanging up and giving to you in a couple of weeks. So I wanted to give them something to take home. Honestly, that took a majority of our time, but I'm really proud because that activity that I showed you with the sequencing, they did it all by themselves, and I was allowing them to talk and work, and I was kind of seeing how that was going, and it went just fine. I don't know, I feel like today was just a really successful day. And then for Fun Friday, we played this game. I looked up like fun PE games, and this game required beanbags outside, but I don't know if we have beanbags, and I did not have time to go and check, so I used these little circle discs. They're called Gopher Tough Spots. And they're these things, I don't know, they were in the classroom. They're like really heavy, like I can't carry a whole stack of them. Not too heavy that the kids can't pick them up. They're not super heavy. I'm exaggerating. I put a bunch of them in the middle, and then I had 2 teams. So I numbered them off, and I had tape on the floor. So one team was over there, and one team was over here where I'm sitting. And the game is called Plant the Trees, and it's a great game to play outside, so you can section off the areas with cones. So there's a middle section, then a section for this team, and then a section for this team. And in the middle, you put all the seeds, so bean bags or whatever you want them to pick up and move. And then you have the students move around, and the goal is to get as many seeds to their side. And I told them that when they moved a seed into their zone, it became a tree. But then, here's the kicker, you can steal seeds from the other team. So you can only pick up 1 seed at a time. You can only carry 1 seed, and you can't throw it. You have to walk it into your little area. And if you're outside, you could just like blow your whistle. We were inside, so I did Blake Rules. It's kids trap music, so we played like I Love My Grandma and like all those fun songs. If you haven't looked into kids trap on Spotify, you need to do it. I remember talking about this last year, but it's by Blake Rules, and it's just like the funniest songs. So we did that, and then every time I paused the music, they stopped, dropped what they were doing, and then they counted up the seeds, and I gave Dojo points, and I switched the teams every time. So they loved that. It went really well, and no one got hurt, which is what I was afraid of, because you know whenever you play games like that inside, a lot of times you're just asking for trouble, but they did a good job. I made it very clear that they would sit out if anything happened, so they did a good job. Ask me when I'm gonna move these tables back. I don't know. Here's the other thing. I really wanted to start the fine motor bins next week. They have been sitting back here. I only have a couple of things, and the other things are in the office. Like, they ordered them for me, which is wonderful. However, they haven't like checked them in yet because they have been so busy because of everything that's happening just with like COVID and masking and quarantining kids and independent study and parents, and they have been so busy. And so I'm not gonna be able to start that next week, I don't think. And I told you guys I would tell you more about my bee binders when I put them together, but I also don't have the binders yet, so eventually that's coming. And yeah, I think now I am just in planning mode, and usually in these vlogs I do like to show a little bit of my planning just because I know that it helps. So let's do that. Okay, let's plan. Here's what my plans look like right now. I think I'm gonna try to screen record. I don't know if this is gonna work, but do I want to edit that? Okay. Oh, wow, I totally just wasted that whole hour. That's the time we normally get out. Okay, I'm looking at my month, and this is just what I have already put and scheduled. I moved all of the letters that we're gonna be working on daily for kindergarten to the top because that's just been all thrown out of whack. We have not even started alphabet boot camp, and that I think honestly is totally okay. I think the fact that I'm going slower and we are focusing more on community and just skills that they're gonna need, I think that's totally okay. So you know what? We're fine. So next week, we do not have any school on Monday because it's Labor Day, and I'm gonna be starting alphabet boot camp with kinder. So we're gonna be doing initial M, so M at the beginning of a word. And we're also going to be doing positions for math. For my first graders, we're focusing on CVC words, but we're focusing on short O. And then we're going to be doing character traits. And then for math, we're doing making 4 and making 5. I'm actually going to copy this into my week so that I can just have it there and not have to flip back and forth. Okay, so I'll put it over there. Oh, that looks so organized. So just for me, for planning for a combo class, I'm going to highlight and like color coordinate my schedule so that I know what is what. So first grade I'm using pink, and kindergarten I am using green. So 9:40 to 10:05 is my first graders, so we're gonna do pink, and I'm just gonna highlight that so I know it's first grade time. Let's start with kindergarten's letters because I know those. So we're gonna take M initial and kind of drag it in, and we're doing, what I'm gonna try to do is one letter and work on it for 2 days. So I'll do some activities on Tuesday and some activities on Wednesday. I'm not going to fill those in now because I already have those. I already have them completely prepped, so I'm just going to focus my brain power on other things. And then positions for math for kindergarten, I'm going to drag that in right here. And then for first grade, we're doing short O. So this is going to be more small group instruction, I think. I might introduce it whole group on Tuesday. No, I think I want to do that totally small group. And then whole group Tuesday, we're going to be doing character traits. And then for math, drag that down here, making 4 and 5. Thursday, we're going to do A for kindergarten. And then S and T, we're just going to delete those for now. That was from last week. I was planning on doing too much. Okay. And I know it doesn't look like anything's in my planner, but now I totally know what we're doing. The other thing I need to pick out is our read alouds. So I don't have a dedicated time right now for science or social studies. So what I'm trying to do is incorporate it as much as I can into our literacy part of the day. Really quickly, I have to pause my planning because I'm going to write down all of the big science standards for kindergarten and first grade because I have both, and I'm going to see the overlap. Okay, here is what we have currently. Okay, so the green is kindergarten, so push, pull, energy, sunlight. I keep forgetting what that one is saying. It's just how like sunlight warms the earth, what plants and animals need to survive, Earth's patterns, and weather forecasting. This can be done, I think, together. And then really this kind of goes with these three, and then for my first graders that kind of goes together. So really the only thing that's separate is forces, push and pull for kindergarten. That's quite nice. So whenever I teach this, I'll teach this together, which usually this is more springtime, and this is more like fall winter. I said I have that all figured out, so I kind of know as I go if there's anything that I can like touch on or bring attention to do that for my science standards. And I think my read aloud for this week is actually going to be the last leaf, which I had over here. My mother-in-law recently got us this book. I have a couple of other, oh look, it has a little, cute. I knew I wanted to do this book sometime in the fall. Honestly, I thought I was going to be doing it sooner. But we'll do this book. I'll pull a couple other more fall type books. Like I have one, Goodbye Summer, Hello Fall, and we can make comparisons with that book. And now that we're on like our normal, schedule, who knows? This book is actually going to be the same book I read Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, maybe Friday morning too. Friday I might switch it up, we'll see. But we're just going to do a different activity and focus on a different thing each time we read it. And doing this with my kinders last year especially helps them so much with comprehension, and I know for the first graders it'll help them even more with the vocabulary that I want them to pick up on. So that's another thing I'm going to go through and do. Not here right now, but looking for that higher vocabulary. I'm going to go through and plan more like deep thinking questions for my first graders. And see what else I can pull for them because I haven't like completely dove into this book just yet. Honestly, I'll just drag it to Thursday and we'll see what Friday holds. So I'll keep my standards in mind whenever I'm going through and taking a closer look at the book. But as far as the activities each day that go with our read aloud, okay, so I kind of figured out what our, in a sense, daily task is going to be each day. So the very first day we'll just read the book and then get through the retelling. So with the picture cards that we do on the anchor chart, I think that's all we're gonna have time for because I only have like a 30-minute block, and that's not enough time to read the book and give them something. So when I read the book and we retell the story, I will have a little bit of time left over, and that is when I can bring in things like brain pop or talking about seasons and doing that. So I'm gonna leave that little extra time in there for that. So the first day we'll just retell it together, and then I'll have students come up and talk to me about what happened. The next day we're gonna focus on character setting, problem, and solution, and there is like a little graphic that'll go along with this. You will see it next week. So for the character setting, problem, and solution, this is gonna be mostly focused on first grade, and then kinders will have more of just like a flip book thing, and I think it has just two things. It has just characters and just setting. So problem and solution is going to be more focused for first graders, which is why I love these kits because you can differentiate so easily. So the kindergartners will have just a flip book with two parts, and the first graders will have a whole graphic organizer for character setting, problem, and solution. And then on Thursday, we're actually going to do the cute little leaf craft. So like our little giraffes that we did this week, it'll be the leaf version of that on Thursday, and then they'll retell it using the little pictures, hopefully by themselves. They did such a good job today. I don't want to move too fast. I always get excited. And on Friday, they're going to do the writing that's going to go with it. The kinders will have already done their little flip book, but they're going to be writing their favorite thing about fall. So my plan, like I said, a little bit of time we'll have each day after we do this. I'm going to be doing like fall, brain pop, talking about fall, what is fall, things in fall, just kind of introing them to it. And then hopefully on Friday we can write about it. If we're not there yet, that's okay. But I think we should be good. And then up here for first grade centers, I was thinking, since we're doing the retelling kits, hopefully this is not too much information to give you. If you watched my vlogs last year, the retelling kits have those pictures. I always made double the copies, and then I put laminated versions in our library with a pocket chart. No idea where that pocket chart went. My kinders could practice retelling the book. I think for centers next week, I have a little first, next, last sheet. And there is also an option for them to scan and listen to the story again. And I think I might have them try to write a simple sentence about first, next, and last in the story. And I think that would be good. We'd have to try it out and see. I always have high hopes. I don't know. And then for our actual literacy chunks of time, first graders, I'm going to be focusing on character traits. So for this first day, I think I'm going to reread. You know what? I'm going to pick a totally different book. I'm going to do The Recess Queen. I love doing The Recess Queen for character traits. Also, I think some of my friends in first grade could use this. Yeah, okay. We're going to do The Recess Queen. Because I'm teaching a combo class, I have to alternate between a literacy lesson and a writing lesson. So I think we might do The Recess Queen for 2 days, for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then focus on a writing for Thursday and Friday. And I don't know what that is yet. I'm sure I have something. I'm just not going to look it up right now. So I'm just going to write. Okay, and I'm liking that. And then I have everything all planned out for my alphabet boot camp for kindergartners. So I'm just going to put check boxes because I already did that. I'm just not going to sit here and show you because that's going to take too long. And then for small groups in first grade, I am working on short O, and I need to pull those decodables. Pull short O fluency passages. I'll show you those next week. Make sure you're subscribed. So that's going to be a small group for first grade. And then for kindergarten, what are we doing next week in kindergarten? I think it's going to be an extension of alphabet boot camp. Also, some of this I'll have my AIDE do too. So we have M is going to be the first one we do, but I have this handwriting page and then fine motor, and I really want to make sure that they're making their letters the right way. So I might do that one, or start them on it and then send them. They're going to be doing this in their centers because we're going to do it whole group, and then I'm going to let them do it by themselves. This is something I'd want to do with them at my table, just having them practice, making sure they're doing it like the right way. And I am, again, using the Peterson handwriting rhythm, and I've really liked that. And I'm just surprised in just the way you change your phrasing of how to write a letter, how much it helps. And then this will also be independent, and I will do Play-Doh for their centers. So lots of things happening. But yeah, so I'm going to focus on alphabet boot camp activities for our small group because that's the big focus. And I'll also be bringing in a couple days a week, probably on Fridays, a Switch It activity. And if you don't know what that is, I'm part of the Reading Simplified Academy. I mentioned it very briefly in here, but I'm going to start bringing in that activity again, probably on Fridays. And then I'm just going to write alphabet. I'm not going to totally plug it in and write it right now. I will show you my finished plans on Monday. I just don't want to stay that long. Okay. And then for math, we're doing positions in kindergarten, and I have some resources already pulled for that. They have their worksheets that we call their math adventure from our curriculum in their workbooks. And then first grade, we're doing making 4 and making 5. And I also have materials for that in my Google Drive, but it's going to be a lot of hands-on. We're just going to be at the carpet and we're going to talk about different ways to make 4, different ways to make 5, give them a recording sheet. You can also do the cups where you put the different colored counters in, you spill them out. There's 3 here, there's 1 here. And really it's not about teaching the first graders 1 + 4 = 5. It's really about having them be fluent with those facts. So just seeing 1 + 4 and them knowing in their brains that that's 5. A lot of them are very fluent with 2 + 2 = 4, but they might not be as automatic as 1 + 3 = 4. So we really are building that automaticity with them, and that is going to be the focus for next week. I'll probably do a big focus on number lines too, because just in the small time we've had together and like the knockout games we've played, I noticed they're not as familiar with the number line, and noticing that as you move forward it gets bigger. So I'm going to put a big emphasis on that, because even when we were doing adding 1 in the knockout game, they were like, oh, which way do I go? So I'm going to probably bring in those math strategies. You know what? I might do that on Monday or on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I think we are going to strictly talk about math strategies. What I mean is, like, you can use your fingers, you can use counters, you can use a number line, you can use part, whole. So I think we're gonna make like an anchor chart together on Tuesday, go over math strategies, and then hop into making 4 and making 5. And those are my plans for next week. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that planning was helpful, even though it wasn't like a full plan with me. I kind of just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I'm doing it with the combo class. Make sure that you are subscribed so you see next week's vlog. Make sure you're following me over on Instagram. They see everything first. I'm super active over on there. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.